take like 10 million of me trying to record this YouTube video, and I need someone to just buy me a real camera, please. Okay, so obviously from this title, you guys can see that this video is about my rush experience. I did have a very unique experience. If you are somebody that is about to go through sorority recruitment, this isn't meant to scare you. This isn't meant to make you not want to go through it. It's just to kind of, I don't know, just kind of inform you guys on the process, tell you how it went for me, and, you know, kind of give you guys just like my insight on it, I guess, because I did go through it twice. So to give you guys a little bit of a lowdown, I went to Mizzou. I went there for 3 years. I'm doing my last semester through their online program. So I spent 3 years on campus. I'm doing this last semester. I can't think of the word for it. Not at Mizzou. To break it down, okay, so before the whole recruitment week starts, you are going to meet your Pi Chi group. Your Pi Chis are your Panhellenic counselors, whatever they're called at your specific school. They are going to be your lifeline. They're going to be the girls that you cry to all week. They're going to be the girls that you confide in. They are your ride or dies this week. You also are going to be placed in a Pi Chi group. It's about 30 girls, and in that group you go to meetings every evening together, and that is where I met some of my very first friends at Mizzou, which is super awesome, and I'm really glad that I did have that experience going through Rush when I did. I met awesome girls my second year going through Rush as well. So let's hop in to the actual recruitment process. Mizzou's Rush process includes their 15 sororities, and those 15 sororities put on, you know, the whole week for you all going through Rush, and it starts off with Monday and Tuesday. You go through like kind of meet and greet rounds. So during those rounds, you are just kind of getting to know the girls on a very like surface level connection. You'll talk about like where you're from, what your family's like, what your interests are, what your major is, etc. And then kind of get to like know the house, the girls in the house. You'll talk to like 3 girls in each house during this round. Then you will preference. So at the end of day 2, you will go and you will pref your top 11 houses, so the houses you want to go back to the most. And then the sororities will pref you that night as well. So going into the next round, ideally you have 11 houses left. The next round is philanthropy round. You will still kind of have those surface level conversations, but you are also going to talk about the philanthropy of the house that you are in each house that you get invited back to. At the end of day, I guess 4 then, because there's 2 days of meet and greets or open house rounds, there's 2 days of philanthropy, and then you guys will preference again, the houses will preference as well. If you are mutually preferenced the maximum amount of houses, you will go back to, I believe it is 7. That one I'm not 100% positive on. Then you go to sisterhood round. Sisterhood round is when you kind of just get to know the girls on a deeper level. So they're going to talk about like how much they love their sisters and how they know this is their home and whatever. And then at the end of that day, you will preference again. The houses will preference again. So at the end of sisterhood round, you are going from, I believe it is 7 to 2 houses, but I'm not 100% positive, but that sounds right to me. Then you'll go into preference day. So that is the day before bid day. Going into preference day, you really get to know the girls on such a deep level. A lot of girls cry during this round because they're like, wow, this is what home is to me. And yeah, that's that. In the end of preference day round, you are going to go and you're going to do your final preference, and you will rank the houses that you have left. You should have, if you have the maximum amount of houses left, 2 houses. You'll rank them 1 and 2. At Mizzou, it is a rule that if you accept a bid from any house, you cannot formally rush again for an entire calendar year. So you can suicide your preference, which I do not recommend doing. That is what I did, and I will get into that in a second. Okay, so my freshman year, I went to Mizzou because I wanted to go to a Greek life school. That's all I cared about. I wanted to have that big tailgate season. I wanted to have these sorority sisters. I wanted those little letters in my Instagram bio. That's what I cared about. And it was to like getting that deeper level connection, the sisterhood. I had friends in high school, obviously. All of my friends graduated when I was a junior. So my senior year, it was kind of just like me. So that year really made me just want that solid group of people. Going through recruitment as a freshman, I had braces. And I do think that is why I was ultimately released from a lot of the houses. Release is like basically what happens when you are removed from recruitment. No houses wanted you back, so you're out of luck. Although that is very superficial to say, and really just like, wow. And I'm not saying that every sorority is looks-based at every school, but I was cut from the hot houses at Mizzou, and that messed with my head. But after the first round, I was invited back to only 4 houses. So like I said earlier, you could be invited back to a maximum of 11. I only got 4. So I was pretty heartbroken at this point, felt very defeated. I was invited back to my legacy house, which means I had a family member in that house at some point. And it didn't have to be like at Mizzou, it could have been at any school. And that family member that I had in that house was the only affiliation I had to Greek life in my entire family. And you know, I get to that second round feeling just so defeated, feeling like, what's wrong with me? Why don't these houses want me? And I met with my pai kai and I cried to her a lot, and we were like, yeah, 11 houses cut you, yeah, or cut me, but 4 of them saw something in you. One of those houses, aka my legacy house, I was told by my friend that's in that chapter that they are required to invite back legacies after the first round. So then comes, you know, I go through philanthropy round, I get to know the houses a little bit better, and then we press again. And then sisterhood round, I get back my list, my legacy house and another one of the houses had cut me, so I was down to 2 houses. And I was really hurting at that point. I wanted to be in my legacy house really, really bad, but obviously that didn't end up happening. So then I go through sisterhood round, I get to know these houses better, and you know, even though at the beginning of the week I didn't love them, at this point I was starting to be able to see myself in these houses. And that's like kind of what's important throughout the week. Even if you get cut from every house that you think you want, you're gonna be left with other houses. And although you might not have ever seen yourself in these houses, throughout the week, as you get to know the girls on a deeper level, that really is gonna change your mind, and you are gonna be really opened up to the idea of being in one of these houses that you never saw yourself in. So that's where I was kind of opening up. I was starting to not be as like, well, I don't want to be in that house, to, wow, like these girls are cool, like I want to be in this house. So then comes preference day. I got invited back to both of those houses again, but when I went to preference, I suicided my preference, which means that I only put 1 house instead of putting both of the houses. And my thought process behind that wasn't malicious. It wasn't that I thought I was too good for one of the houses or anything. My thought process was, I'm paying for this myself, I can't afford that house, and I don't click with the girls as well in that house. I feel like home in this house, and if I don't get a bid from them, I don't want to be like on the short end, not being able to rush for another year, which I did anyway. So I suicided my preference, and I was released on bid day. I got a call about 5:30 in the morning from my pai kai that I had grown really close with that week, that I confided in about everything. And the second I saw her phone call, I knew, because they only call you if there's bad news. No news is good news in sorority recruitment. So yeah, I got cut on bid day my freshman year. So when every other girl on my floor was out getting their sorority bid, I was out drinking at fraternities. So throughout my freshman year, I did informally rush twice, once in the fall, once in the spring. The fall was a whole big ordeal. It's stupid. None of you guys will literally ever experience what I did. I just surrounded myself with really bad people. So, we'll disregard that. In the spring, I was released though, I know, because of my grades. they only invited back girls who had like 3.8s or something like that. And I think at that point I was rolling with like a 2.9. So obviously I wasn't gonna get invited back. And although, I mean, like, you can ask anyone that literally lived on my floor my freshman year, any of my closest friends, this ate away at me. This made me so sad. And it was just like constant, like, what's wrong with me? Why don't they want me? Like, I'm not good enough, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, that's not it. And no, I get it. I love you. I hope everything, backspace. God, I hate typing on my Apple Watch, but I love you, and I'm here for you. Okay, so going through recruitment, a few things that really like confused me was I knew girls in all these houses because my high school is such a huge feeder school into Mizzou that I knew girls in all the houses. I never had problems with anybody in high school. I kept to myself. My grades were good when I was in high school. I got like a 3.8, a 28 on my ACT. I played field hockey. I was in National Art Honor Society. Like, I wasn't like super involved, but I was still involved. I know I was cut from 2 houses during that formal recruitment because I missed summer welcome at Mizzou, so I had to do August orientation, which cut into recruitment, so I completely missed seeing 2 of the houses. So obviously they are gonna cut me, and I kind of knew that going into it. But overall, getting completely released from recruitment hit me like a bus. I was so lost, so confused, so sad, but I wanted to do it all over again. So freshman year comes to an end, and I decide that sophomore year I do want to rush again. I had grown very close with a lot of girls in the houses, so I kind of was hoping that that would give me kind of an edge maybe. Going in to recruitment, formal recruitment, when I was a sophomore, I did have a really bad GPA. I believe at this point I had a 2.6 or a 2.7. It wasn't anything great. I worked pretty much full time the entire time I was in school, so my grades did suffer. And I wasn't super involved on campus. I was in a club. Yeah. So sophomore year comes around, and I do the same formal recruitment process as the year before. I go through after the first day. I was cut by 13 of the 15 houses. So I was invited back to my legacy house and another house. The house that invited me back actually was not one of the ones that invited me back freshman year. So I was super excited about that. So I am going through recruitment again with a very open mind this time, and I was pretty excited. Although it did suck to be cut from 13 houses when you should get 11 houses back. I was like, you know what? I could totally see myself in this one sorority. I go through philanthropy round again. I was cut from my legacy house again, and I had this one house still. And I was like, wow, like, this is it. I love this house. I get to sisterhood round, which is also a house tour round. I forgot to mention that. So you get to see the sorority houses. And I felt like it was home. The next day was preference day. I got released that morning. So I got a phone call from my Pi Chi telling me that I was not invited back to that house. So therefore I had been released from recruitment. And I was pretty sad again because that was kind of my last ditch effort to get into a sorority. I do know I was cut because of my grades and my age. Some sororities, it's in their bylaws that they cannot take sophomores because they only want freshmen that will possibly be with the house their entire college career. So, I don't know. This video isn't meant to like scare any girls going through recruitment. It's more so to like tell you guys that it's okay if you don't get into a sorority, because that's all I wanted. I just wanted to be in a sorority. I just wanted to, you know, go to these sorority socials and have these cool sisters and get to have these letters in my Instagram bio and these cool t-shirts and a big and a little and all this other stuff. And like, there's so much more to life than being in a sorority. I still met my best friends in the entire world, some of them even through my rushing process. And, you know, the girls on my floor I became really close with. One of the girls on my floor, my next door neighbor, she loaned me the suit that I wore to my job interview in Texas because I couldn't afford a suit. And look where I am. I'm in Texas. And, you know, I've met all these other girls. One girl, particularly, she has been there for me so much on so many different occasions. When I went through my breakup, she was the first person that I called, and she literally drove to my apartment, picked me up. Her boyfriend was at her house. She made him stay in her room. She brought her TV to her living room. I slept on her couch. She slept on the floor next to me. Well, I cried all night long, and we watched Jenna Marbles' YouTube videos. Like, you were gonna meet the most awesome people of your entire life outside of your sorority. You still have the chance to get involved. I did end up joining a club, and I was on their leadership team, and then I was on their executive board. So then I had that chance to really get in there and be involved at Mizzou. I could have totally been more involved. I just didn't want to because I worked all the time and wanted to make money. And, you know, I still got to go to some socials, like with fraternity guys, and you're gonna meet like boys on your floor. Boys don't really care if you're in a sorority. Like, yeah, some guys want to go to socials and stuff, but like a lot of people don't care. And like, that's what my biggest thing is. I thought so many people were gonna judge me for not being in a sorority, and that's not the case either. I mean, there's not really much else to it. It's not like I had these wild experiences where I got caught like partying or something, and that's why I didn't get into a sorority. Like, it really wasn't like that. Like, everything happens for a reason, and I was not meant to be in a sorority. And after trying so hard for so long, I finally realized that. And like, this is kind of to tell the girls that are about to go through recruitment. Like, obviously I know some people watching this went to my high school and just want to know why I didn't get into a sorority. But the girls that are going through recruitment that watch this, I hope that you take away from this that, you know, trust the process. If you get cut from sorority recruitment every time you try, it wasn't meant for you. And you're still an awesome girl no matter what. You're still probably slaying the game, doing your thing. Like, just focus on you and making yourself feel good. And if you're gonna be sad about something like that, like, find a different way to channel your energy, because sitting in your dorm room crying because you didn't get into a sorority is no way to spend your freshman year of college. And that's how I spent a lot of my time, because I was so heartbroken over this. And there are gonna be so many people, literally after sophomore year, everybody drops their sorority. Like, so many people drop. It's not gonna be the end of the world. If any girls have any questions about the sorority recruitment process or want any, you know, advice as best as I could give it, or if you would like, you know, someone to even talk to during your recruitment process because you feel like someone else doesn't understand or you don't know anyone at your school, like, you guys are more than welcome to reach out to me in my DMs. I check my Instagram all the time, my Twitter all the time. You guys are totally welcome to reach out to me on there. And, you know, I want to be here for people because it's a scary, scary time, a scary transition. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to go ahead and follow my social media, it'll all be linked down below. Go ahead and press the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get notifications every time I post. And if you like this video, press the like button and leave me a comment down below to let me know your opinions on it. And I look forward to see you guys in the next one. Bye.